High street shopping is everywhere today, with all shops battling it out for not only public interest and sales, but most importantly, survival. Here, in the small market town of Diss, Norfolk, live Designermakers21, a specialist independent art and craft shop hoping to attract more customers.
We have very quiet days here when there's very few customers.
I don't think we get as much footfall as down in the main street of Diss.
There is currently a redevelopment programme happening within Diss, with the aim to aid public interest for local businesses in the top end of the town. The programme also hopes to increase the footfall of customers.
We're trying to turn the locality into a destination that people want to come to and spend time and enjoy. Not just tourists, local people as well.
Diss is a small market trading town situated 24 miles south of the city of Norwich. It has a friendly, welcoming atmosphere and is a town well worth discovering.
The town itself seems to have its own sort of unique atmosphere, and I think people tend to latch on to that. I think it has a fairly relaxed, easygoing feel about it. Some people would say maybe we're a little old-fashioned. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
As old-fashioned as it may first appear, Diss still operates a successful, diverse market. These types of towns in Britain tend to follow a particular route. They would grow out from the church being its core.
You'd normally find a pub fairly close to the church. We have St Mary's Church, we have the Saracen's Head very close together, and then merchants' houses and shops would sort of spread out from that area. And that's typical of Diss here, particularly up in this, what we call the top end of the town.
This particular part of town is known as the Heritage Triangle. Situated in the upper section of the town, its buildings have held a mass of so many wonderful, talented people and businesses for generations. Currently sitting in this part of town is one of Diss's most historic buildings for independent businesses. Peter Hyde has extensive knowledge of the building, dating back to some of its earliest days.
We do have quite a bit of information on J.P. Albright. He ran still as an ironmonger's for quite a long time. There's rather a nice photograph showing the shop front from those days. Outside is hanging tilly lamps and hurricane lamps and brushes and brooms, all the sort of paraphernalia you would expect to see in a hardware store as they become or have become known. It then carried on as a hardware store into the 1950s, 60s and into the 70s. So it's been a hardware store for a long, long time. Recently it was taken on by designer makers who are artisan craftsmen, and they are providing an alternative use which hopefully the people of the town and surrounding areas come to like.
This is Designermakers21. We are a collection of craftspeople and artists. It started 3 years ago, and it was the Cornhall that had the idea. They had the idea of putting craftspeople into an empty shop and starting a craft centre.
The Cornhall is a thriving arts venue offering great entertainment such as theatre, comedy, cinema, music and much, much more.
They asked me as one of the founder members to join and asked me to find some other people. So we started off with 5 of us. And then we got it going and just did everything ourselves, being mentored by the Cornhall, and learnt along the way of how to run it as studios that we make our own work in and as a shop. So 3 years later we're now 12 people.
I was in the second wave of crafters to come in 2 months after it opened. I came into upstairs, which hadn't been touched. It had been empty for 4 years before we arrived. I share upstairs with Janine Oxley, who makes felt, who shares this particular room with me. Then across the corridor there's 3 other rooms. We have Joe Clark, who does natural fibre textile basketry, and Marie Hamilton, who's a fantastic seamstress and clothes designer, and Titania Fisher, who makes fascinators and brooches and a whole myriad of different things.
What's unique about what we offer here is that we're in a studio making our product on the premises. We then sell it to the public, and the public can see the process of us making and producing our product, and they can also commission us to do something very unique for them, very special. So that's really what's unique. It's like seeing craftspeople and artists at work, and also seeing the gallery of our work, our finished work, and other people's work that we show as well.
A big part of bringing in additional revenue is through showcasing outside crafters.
We invite crafters, local crafters, to come and have a display for 3 months at a time, and every 3 months it changes, so there's a quarterly rollover of crafters, which works in many ways. It's something fresh for us to see. It gives everybody, a lot more crafters, a chance to sell and get their name here. It makes what we pay in rent for our spaces is made, and it does bring people back every 3 months to see what's new, so it's very helpful.
Aside from the uniqueness of this particular shop, they have, like many other independent businesses, a fear of closure. Designermakers21 have the added problem of where the shop is located.
Being up the hill, I don't think we get as much footfall as down in the main street of Dis.
We have very quiet days here when there's very few customers, and we've gone down to the bottom of the road and it's been really busy, and we know that there's a problem there. We know we've got a good thing to offer here, and it's an unusual thing. It's something that's very popular. However, we just need to reach a wider audience with what we're already offering.
I think we should have a lot more made of this shop, because having 12 permanent craft studios with crafters here, 6 associates and 3 showcases, that's 21 small craft businesses being supported at number 21, and you can't find that anywhere else in East Anglia. The fact that the shop is open 3 days a week, so you can actually come and see people working 3 days a week, as well as see all these other crafts for sale. It's unique, and it needs to stay.
These dedicated and talented craft people enjoy their trade. They love their creativity, what they offer to the public, and their bespoke work. However, something needs to be done to help them survive. Fortunately, a redevelopment programme set up by the Cornhall to regenerate the Heritage Triangle is underway. This programme's aim is to attract customers back to this part of town, and with that, bring in revenue and interest to the local area and businesses.
What we're trying to do here is using the Cornhall as a catalyst effectively, which will be open all day, more performances, but the whole streetscape will be changed up here, so it'll be much more pedestrian friendly. We're looking at shared space on the road, so at the moment the car feels it's got priority. We want to change that back so the pedestrian feels he is entitled to the road as well. And we're building as well, away from the historic centre, a communal garden and a boardwalk that will run across our 6-acre lake, the Mere, which in itself will be not just tourists, but a local attraction. So we're trying to turn the locality into a destination that people want to come to and spend time and enjoy. That will have a knock-on effect, obviously, on the businesses, positively, and also the well-being of the people of Dis.
I think the regeneration is a marvellous thing, because it will improve the street itself, it will improve the identity of Dis, it will attract more tourists, because the Cornhall being refurbished, they will increase their audience by quite a large percentage. That will bring more people in.
Having the road outside paved to just beyond our front door, I think is going to encourage people to make that little effort to go slightly uphill. But yeah, I think it's going to do wonders, and I think that putting the walkway on the mere, I can't really understand why it didn't happen before, because the mere is a huge part of Diss really, and it's not a very common thing, and we should make more of it. So, and that will encourage tourists to come here, and therefore will benefit us.
We had an opportunity here with the centre, with all the listed buildings, with a strong band of traders, with the Cornwall, with the Mere, to do basically an integrated package. So it's much more than a little spot there and a little spot there. We hope people are going to feel better, take advantage of what's here, and this will be a better place to live.
With the redevelopment underway, Designermakers21 are eagerly awaiting the change. But what will it hold for the future of the business? Will Designermakers21 see an increase in public interest, or will they see the end of their unique shop? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, whatever happens, they will fight to keep this business running.